Yo, what is up, my puffer people? It is I, Kane, your puffer pal, back with another video. Today with a video covering 10 worlds I would love to see in the next Kingdom Hearts game. Before we get started, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. It would help out a ton. And real quick, just to get this out of the way, this video is not going to be the best visually. This is mostly a talky video anyway, but I'm working on editing and stuff so I can make better, visual videos. It's just, I'm not the best at editing. I don't have money to buy an editor, to buy a better editing software. So soon. Because I do really want to make the best possible content for y'all. It's just right now, that's hard, but if you subscribe and like the video, of course, the content will get better. So anyway, these worlds are not in a particular order. It's not like most want to least want. I do start with 3 returning worlds, and then I get into kind of the new worlds. The last one, I will say, is the least realistic of all 10. The last one was more of like, oh, this is fun, and I want it. So, without further ado, let's get into our first returning world, which is the virus that's sweeping the nation, Corona! Okay, technically, this joke is not good, it's stupid, and it's not sweeping the nation anymore. Anyway, so, my boy Varian in the tower. Anyway, I actually really liked Corona in Kingdom Hearts 3. I know people are like, oh, they just took the story from the first one, but I don't really care. I really don't care. I'm gonna be honest. I don't mind when they do that as much. It's not, I get why people hate it, but I actually really like it. And I find Flynn and Rapunzel to be really just charming characters in general, and I enjoyed the interactions between them and Sora, so I think going back to that world would be great. And here's the thing. When I approached this video, a big thing was, what would adding a world give? I don't want to just add a world to add a world. I want it to provide something, whether it's a new world, a good story opportunity. I think this would be the best opportunity to build on a world we got from another game. Because while, sure, I do have 2 more repeating worlds, said worlds would take place in a completely different area. Whereas I think with Corona, we could easily take the kingdom and to build on it. We could still use Rapunzel's Tower too, because that's an iconic location. But I think especially with the series, which I know it's not that realistic, but there's a chance. I think that's the perfect opportunity to build on Corona. I don't want to build on it. Okay, to, build, more, I think you could explore a lot of Corona. You could meet some of the citizens introduced, like my boy Varian, the GOAT. Literally, he's the GOAT. Can you all just watch Tangled, the series? Go on Disney Plus. It's there, 3 seasons. It's literally a goated show. So good. Anyway, oh god. But yeah, they could explore more of the town. You could get into maybe some of the Moonstone, Sunstone plot. Don't have to get too far into it. Or you could just use an original plot, which a lot of people do love. And I think it would be really fun to catch back up with Corona. I think it would be a lot of fun. I also do believe that they can use it to build more on the Princesses of Heart. I'm going to get more into that later because there's one candidate that I feel like is really, important for that. But, with Rapunzel being a Princess of Heart, maybe Marluxia could come back. Actually, no, because he's some Kingdom Hearts. I don't know. Okay, it's hard. The Union Cross is hard to keep track now, okay? But anyway, maybe Master could be like, oh, I need the Princesses of Heart. Hello, Rapunzel, That wasn't an impression. But you know what I'm saying? Maybe. I think it would be cool. And that's one really solid option. Now, our next option is, of course, everyone's favorite Cage 3 world, Arendelle! Now I know everyone's like, "Yo, nah, we need Arendelle." If they don't add Arendelle, what's the point of playing? Because it was the best KH3. I think it's universally agreed upon that Arendelle is the best Kingdom Hearts 3 world. It's just really good. So I agree. No, okay, it sucked. I'll admit, but I think that they could easily redeem themselves. Again, what does it do? What does it add? I think it adds an opportunity to take a world that was really disappointing and then make it awesome. There's so much. First of all, you have the Earth Golems from Frozen 2. Easy redemption for the Rock Titan. They could be like a Rock Titan-like boss, but just way cooler. Make them hard. I want hard bosses. But I would love to explore the Frozen characters more, and maybe with Sora. I think we got very little interaction between them and Sora in KH3. The one we got the most interaction with was frickin' Marshmallow. Like, what? Like, I like Marshmallow, but, like, he's a flippin' snowman who's like, come on. Like, really. So I think it's a really good opportunity for them to, redeem themselves. And with Arendelle, I think you'd go into the woods, obviously, follow kind of the Frozen 2 stuff. Again, it gives a really cool opportunity about the Earth Golem. And another thing I actually think is really interesting is, so you know how it's a really big plot point of, not big, but a pretty big plot point about Frozen 2 of Arendelle kind of betraying the people? Well, I think they could maybe rope that into the overarching story with the foretellers, kind of how Lucio betrayed. Lucio was the traitor. Maybe you could rope that into the overarching story. And another way you obviously can easily rope it into the overarching story is with 2 more Princesses of Heart, which we've got 3 covered, plus Kairi. We've got 3 more to go, which we will get to 2 of them. But I'm just saying, I think with the 2, I think that would be a really easy way to just, again, because people love when, you rope in the Kingdom Hearts. I do, everyone does. When you rope in Kingdom Hearts with the Disney worlds, we don't want them to be completely disconnected. And I think this is a really easy way to connect them. And I think it would just be fun to revisit, because I do love the characters of Frozen. I just really think they messed it up. So so Kingdom Hearts 4, if that's what the next game with Disney Worlds is, or whatever the next Kingdom Hearts game is, pick Arendelle. This is your chance for some redemption. I'm telling you. So the next world is actually, I don't think redemption. I think it is taking a movie they did pretty well, Beloved, and kind of now doing another thing with it. Which is Toy Box. So I would love to see them use Toy Story 4 stuff. Realistically, they have every, I think that, even if they don't take the plot, I think Toy Story 4 gives you a lot to do. First of all, Forky would be a really fun character to interact with, especially because his kind of thing is he's not a toy, yet he's alive. So it would be interesting maybe to talk about how, he got a heart. I think that could be a really interesting plot point. He got a heart just by Bonnie loving him enough. He somehow became a sentient creature with a heart. That would be cool. And I think the carnival they're at in Toy Story 4 is a really cool area to explore. Exploration in KH3 was a lot of fun, I think. Especially with increased mobility for Sora. I think it would be a lot of fun who explore this world, kind of like Prankster's Paradise and Dreamed Out Distance, which was a good world because of exploration. I think with this, it adds a lot of vertical and horizontal mobility, climbing a Ferris wheel, going on the carousel. There's a lot you could do with that, I think. I think the games, and there's so much opportunity for exploration, hiding chests, even platforming, which I know some people like. My boy Regular Pat, goated YouTuber, likes it. And I think it would be a lot of fun to explore that. It could be an interesting way also to show that even though even though they're not with Andy anymore, maybe you bring up how their hearts are still connected. Because I don't know, maybe with Sora having gotten away from all the people for what, at least a year, I think at that point. A year's, I don't know. You could say, oh, even though I was gone for so long, our hearts were always connected. I don't know. It's an interesting, I think, plot point that they could easily work into it. And I think it would be a fun way to at least give us a bunch of new characters, interactions. Bo Peep, who Jesse, Bullseye. I think it would be a banger world, and I honestly think it would be a great way to take Toy Box from Kingdom Hearts 3 and completely rework it to where it doesn't just feel like the same thing, because I think that was one of the biggest problems with KH2 is it feels like a lot of the worlds in KH2 were just rehashes. Like, they didn't change enough. Whereas with this, it's the same characters and stuff, but you're not giving us the same place to explore. Okay, now we are moving on to the new worlds. The worlds that we have not seen, but I would love to see. Now, this first world, I think is a show-in. I think it is a 100% show-in, and that is Kumandra. Okay, so why is Kumandra a shoo-in? Well, there was one line. I was watching Ray in the Last Dragon when it came out. Great movie, by the way. Check it out. Yeah, it's actually it's a sick movie, I gotta say. I mean, I love when the dragon dies. No, I'm kidding. But it's like, oh, the dragon's dead. They're gonna kill the dragon. And then it comes back because, like, it's a Disney movie, and why would the dragon stay dead? Whatever. Also, the dad comes back to life. No one stays dead in this movie, basically. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry. Nobody stays dead, okay? But one line really picked me up. The dad calls Rhea his Princess of Heart. No, I know. For a regular viewer, you're like, bro, did you actually? And yes, when I was watching that, I was like, oh my god, he said Princess of Heart. And my mind immediately went to, yo, Rhea, Princess of Heart, Kingdom Hearts 4. I think she would make a great Princess of Heart. As we can see, a lot of the newer Princesses of Hearts are kind of sick, awesome, cool character, like tough ladies who, yeah. So I think Rhea would fit the bill there. And I think she's actually pretty fun character. Her big thing is learning to trust. I think that could be an easy way to work into the Kingdom Hearts overarching story. Trust. Again, Lucio is the traitor. Like, this stuff writes itself. Like, I'm being honest. It literally just writes itself. You don't even... it took me like 5 minutes to think, okay, trust. Boom. Lucio's a traitor. Boom. It fits. It's perfect. I'm sorry. I'm a nerd. It just fits so perfect, dude. I think it would be a sick storyline. I think getting dragons interaction with dragons in the Kingdom Hearts world would be really fun. Dragon Heartless. Come on. I don't know if we've had a Dragon Heartless. We probably have. It was probably trash. This would be sick. And, like, look at the map. Like, obviously, the map doesn't do it justice, but this would be I think this would possibly be the biggest world. Maybe not as big as Caribbean, but a big world, and there would be so much exploration. I love exploration in my Kingdom Hearts games, and I think this world just offers a chance to explore the different parts. You have Talon, Fang, Heart. I forget the rest, I'm gonna be honest. But you have all these different parts of Kumandra that you could explore, each one. It could even be like a collectible thing each time, because you know how she's collecting the parts, each world, like, little area, you collect the thing, and that's a really cool way to give us 5 different unique areas in one game. And it's a lot of exploration and a lot of world building, and it would be really cool. Okay, so next up, I wasn't really sure what to call it, so I ended up landing on Land of the Dead. I was gonna originally put Mexico, but Mexico just doesn't sound right as a Kingdom Hearts world. Land of the Dead actually sounds sick. As you can see, like, from this image on the right here, I think it has a lot of potential for being a cool-looking world. Visually, Kingdom Hearts 3 was really beautiful, I think, honestly. So I think giving us this world to explore would actually be a lot of fun to explore. And of course, again, with the world right itself, this, like, do I even have to explain? We have a character in Kingdom Hearts who believes that by telling people their names and keeping their memory alive, that they'll never die. Does that sound familiar to you? Yes, because it is literally the major plot point in Coco. Like, come on. The Coco writers, this cannot be a coincidence. Like, the Coco writers are in the writing room like, what should we do? Well, I was just playing Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. And you know Axel. Oh, yeah, I know Axel. Well, what if we take his mentality and make it the whole plot of the movie? And then they just made a movie. And honestly, I think it fits perfect. I think an Alehibra, which is what the thing on the left is, boss would be really cool. It doesn't have to be that Alehibra, but I think an Alehibra boss would actually be a really fun way to like work in like a heartless boss, because like heartless bosses can get boring, I'll admit, when they're just random stuff. So I think just working the heartless boss of this world, just giving it a little context, adds so much to your world. Like, I'm not kidding when I say I think it gains said world so much to have a boss that ties into the actual Disney World. People love Disney World. So I think overall this would be a sick world with a really nice looking visual, with an easy to connect story, and a cool boss. Okay, so next up, we need more Lilo and Stitch. We need more Lilo and Stitch. We got Deep Space, and listen, Deep Space was cool, don't get me wrong. But they ignored my boy Pleakley! My boy Pleakley, dude. How do you ignore Pleakley? Pleakley. Look at this man. He's the alien on the right. Look at him. Look at him. He's the captain. No, look at him. He's cool. He's the GOAT. I love Pleakley. Anyway, no, but the big thing with Deep Space was, as fun as it was, you ignored you ignored the Lilo in Lilo and Stitch. You never went to Hawaii. So I think if we go to Hawaii, I think that's an easy continuation from Deep Space. Heck, if the Wayfinder trio is in the next game too, that's an easy reunion. Heck, Sora could reunite with Stitch, who was a summon in KH2, which, have I mentioned, I loved in KH2. Mushu and Sora reuniting, because we never actually got to see them interact, so it was fun to be like, yo, Sora, and they're like, oh, he helped us out. That was a fun, very fun thing. So imagine it's like, oh, you go to Hawaii and it's Lilo and Stitch, and Lilo and Sora's like, oh my god, Stitch, and then Lilo could be like, wait, what? How do you know my pet? Or Stitch, I guess, because she doesn't think of him as a pet anymore. But how do you know Stitch? And they're like, and Stitch could be like, Sora, friend. I can't do a Stitch impression, but it's an easy, cool way to continue, because just a little bit of continuity between games is so satisfying. Pair that with easy. You wanna do a little heart story, connect the hearts of Lilo and Stitch. I don't know, but easy. And I just think getting Lilo and Pleakley in a Kingdom Hearts game is worth it. I love Pleakley. He's the GOAT. I love Lilo. She's a great character. Boss fight, any of the experiments. There are so many cool experiments in the Lilo and Stitch movies and show that I think you have an infinite pool to draw from. Next up, we have a world that it's technically a returning world. I didn't count it as a returning world, because when I think of this world, I think, okay, I want it in a main game, and that's the arcade, or Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is actually one of my favorite Disney movies. I love it. I think it is just such a great movie, and I think it deserves more representation in Kingdom Hearts than the mobile game. Because again, the mobile games are sick. I've watched the whole story; it's sick. But like, come on, who's playing the mobile game? Like, if I give you the choice, play a mobile game that's way too long between story, or don't. You're not doing it, okay? You're not playing it. Like, if you have people did play it, and I respect people who played it, because that's the only reason I got to watch the story. But I can't sit through the mobile game. It's just too much for me. But anyway, I think Wreck-It Ralph is a very easy thing to fit in. And I actually have a banger idea. Okay, so you know how Ralph was a summon, basically a summon in KH3? So what you do, what your story is so Ralph is trying to prove himself a good guy, like in the movie. And Sora shows up, and Ralph is like, and as it's going on, and he like defends Ralph. He could be like, "Oh no, this guy helped me," but they refuse to believe him. So you are, as Sora, to pay back Ralph for helping you fight, kind of go and try to prove he's a good guy. And instead of going to Hero's Duty for a medal, maybe you go to a Final Fantasy game or some different Square game. A good way to work in that Square continuity between games. And then you could go to Sugar Rush. Sugar Rush, maybe you have a racing minigame. It wasn't that great in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, but who knows? They've had years to perfect it. It's a pretty good opportunity for a racing minigame if they wanted one. Easy, the bugs are an easy, heartless boss. Ralph would be a sick party member to have, and as I've said, I really love when you have the interactions between Sora and Summons. So I think Sora actually interacting with Ralph and getting to help him and thank him for being a summon would be a lot of fun. And our next world, of course, this is a shoo-in. I think this world is guaranteed in Kingdom Hearts 4. And if it's not, it would be... No, it is. Like, this world's going to be in Kingdom Hearts 4, and that's Motunui. I don't know if it's going to be called Motunui, but there is going to be a Moana world in Kingdom Hearts 4. It's just... It fits so perfectly. We already have set up in the Caribbean kind of a boating thing, whereas I don't think you rip that straight up, but I think you could have a little boating mini game in between. So maybe you start in Motunui and you meet Moana and she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Then you sail to find Maui and that's a mini game. Then, as you're sailing, you have a mini boss encounter with the coconut dudes. That would be really cool. Imagine Sora fighting a coconut. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Sora literally beating up a coconut with a keyblade. Tell me that wouldn't be sick. You literally cannot tell me you don't want to... I would pay $1,000 to watch Sora beating up a coconut with his keyblade. Of course, then you could have a sick Tamatoa boss like, come on, please, 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 and thank you. And then that could lead up to the thingy, the evil person in the game, and that could prove bad and good. I don't know. Like Moana, I think this story is less important as the boss fights in the world would be really cool. And I also think that Moana would be one of the new princesses of Heart. Again, a kind of a shoo-in. She's a sick character. She's a very strong female character, which of course I think is important. Representation, of course. And I think she would be a great fit for the Princesses of Heart. And I think her and Maui, Maui and Sora interacting would actually be legitimately really funny to say, please, Square, make it happen. It's gonna happen. And please give us Pua. I love Pua. He was underused in the movie. Give me Pua. Okay, we got our final two. The next one, I'll admit it's less realistic, but it would be a lot of fun, is Zootopia. Zootopia is... What it offers is one of the... Maybe just like Raya, but I think even better, a big map to explore. Because you have all these different districts set up in Zootopia that I think you could easily build on. You could build on the different districts. You could have us explore the precinct, the districts, and it could be a really cool map because the districts are really different. You have the Tundra Town, you have the Rainforest District, you have other places too that I can't remember, but it would be sick. And imagine Sora as an animal with interacting with Nick and Judy. That would be funny. That would be a really funny costume. Imagine Sora gets in the world and he's like, what? Why am I a bunny? And then Donald's like, I'm still a duck because why would they change my animal? That'd be really cool. I think Nick and Judy are some of the most likable leads in a Disney movie, if I'm being honest. I love them. I think they have great banter, and adding Sora to the mix would be a lot of fun. And I think it's so easy to implement an original story Because at the end of the day, it's a cop film. It's a mystery. Just make a new mystery that has to relate to Kingdom Hearts. It's easy. You could maybe even relate it to Lucio being a trainer. I don't know. But it's not hard to make a new mystery type thing for them. You get that original story not taken from any movie to satisfy the fans who are looking for that, while also you're able to pretty easily keep the charm of the first movie through keeping a lot of the same characters and same interaction and same scenes, but you also have great interaction, great exploration throughout the world with an original story. And if you need an original story, maybe you could easily work something in with a mystery, and at the end you find out, the person is turning. It could be something to do with, I don't know why, but it could be something to do with Maleficent's getting around again, and she's turning animals into Heartless. So it kind of connects to the actual story of the movie, but it's different in its own unique Kingdom Hearts way. And I think that would be a lot of fun. And again, you could easily delve into Hearts with this world, I think, because there's a lot to talk about with the friendship between Judy and Nick. Okay. So this last idea it's out there, I'll admit. People, it's something I'm sure a lot of people have thought of, but most people, I think, would say, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. But I think it is one of the coolest things if it did happen. A galaxy far, far away. I think now that Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel, you can't tell me it wouldn't be sick to have a Star Wars or a Marvel world in Kingdom Hearts 4 or a Birth by Sleep 2 or whatever the next game is. It would just be so fun because, especially Star Wars, think about all the iconic things you could do. Imagine Sora having a fight with Darth Vader. Imagine Darth Vader busts out his red lightsaber and Sora's like, yeah, but I've got a key. And then flipping Darth Vader and Sora fight Keyblade versus freaking lightsaber? That would be the coolest thing ever. You cannot tell me that would be cool. Heck, you could even make the Darth Vader boss using the Force so he's immune to magic. So it's a full-on duel. That would be so cool. You cannot tell me that would not be the coolest thing ever. I include the Death Star because I think that would be a really cool area to explore. I think this, again, has the opportunity to be the biggest world ever because you could explore different planets. You could explore the Death Star. You have so much possibility here because then you'll have so many movies to pull from. I do think with this, it would make sense to pull from the movies for the most part with just a few slight tweaks. You had in Sora, you have Sora maybe fight Darth Vader. And again, with how they've mastered kind of the gummy ship, I feel like in KH2, KH3, what if you use the gummy ship, but the Millennium Falcon? So in said world, you board the Millennium Falcon and it's like a mini gummy ship hub where you could fly to different planets, complete tasks, and then at the end you fly to the Death Star to fight Darth Vader. That would be sick. And story-wise, it's so easy to work in a story for Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts. Because Star Wars is literally light and darkness. Kingdom Hearts is literally light and darkness. So you could talk about kind of how in Star Wars, there's a balance. There needs to be a balance between light and darkness. And you could kind of relate that to how the Master of Master is trying to balance light and darkness. I don't know, something like that. And how maybe they have to figure out how the light people have been so busy vanquishing darkness when all they really need is balance, and that they have to learn how to live with and control said darkness. I know, obviously, it's not perfect. There really is no perfect way to fit Star Wars just because there's so much to work in. But just with all the iconic characters, imagine getting Sora and Han Solo interacting. My nerd, come on. Every nerd in the world would freak out for Sora and Han Solo to interact. And just there's so much cool. You could fight stormtroopers and block all their attacks. You could fight Darth Vader. It would be the coolest. It would be the best Kingdom Hearts boss fight ever. No debate. It would be so sick. And yeah, that's why Galaxy Far Far Away would just all the iconic location. It would be sick. So anyway, those are the 10 worlds I really want to see in another Kingdom Hearts game. I mean, if you enjoyed this, let me know, because I could make more. I would love, or I could even make more in-depth videos about each world. If there's any world I talked about where you kind of want to see my thoughts more in depth, because like there are so many ideas I have for like a galaxy far, far away that they could do. Let me know in the comment below, and I could do more. And there, of course, I didn't get to every world I'd love to see, because I'd love to see a lot of worlds. I'd love to see Monsters Inc. again. I would love to see maybe Onward. There are a bunch of worlds that would be cool. But those are just 10 I would really love to see. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see, because there are so many worlds. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider leaving a like, because it helps a ton. And subscribe to my channel, please. And until next time, sorry. A lot of more content should be coming soon. Working on a bunch of sick stuff. Hopefully edited content too comes soon. And I love you guys. Until next time, my puffer people. Stay puffed.